Hi guys, TinaGale here, and I'm back with another process video finally. So today I am using the Echo Park Little Lumberjack collection. This was in the January double shot kit, so check that out if you haven't already. So I'm just showing you here everything that was in the kit. We had cardstock, the craft cardstock, which was what I was thinking about using, and a red cardstock, the patterned paper, and the 12 by 12 sticker sheet, which I always love working with those because it gives you lots of options. So you can see here I have a piece of waxed paper and I pulled off the embellishments that I thought I was going to use. I'm scrapping a photo of my husband when he went on a bird hunt. So you can see this collection is great for anything outdoors. You could also use it for small kids. I mean, you really just think outside the box. I always like to go through the 12 by 12 sticker sheets, look through the phrases, and just see what kind of ideas I can come up with of stories that I can tell. And so since this was a photo of my husband, he's very particular about what stickers, what phrases, icons I can use on the pages because he's pretty literal. So if I stretch it out too far, he doesn't really say anything to me, but I know that he just doesn't get it and he doesn't appreciate it. So I try to really stick to things that he likes on the pages that I'm doing, documenting his photos, because he is so supportive of everything that I do, scrapbooky, creative, and all of that. So it's the least I can do for him is to keep it kind of in check. So here I started out, I really didn't have a concrete plan. I wasn't following a sketch or anything like that. I just wanted to use all of the papers, of course, because they're all gorgeous. So I had cut some different sizes of strips, thought I would layer them up and kind of just make a band design across the page. And I wanted this wood grain, and I loved the craft on the back. So originally I thought I was going with the craft cardstock. I'm not much on using bright colored cardstock for backgrounds, so that's why I leaned towards the craft, but it just wasn't really popping for me. And I loved the wood grain, so now I'm kind of playing with some different ideas. I pulled out the red cardstock thinking I would use it as a mat. So that is perfect. That's really giving that pop of color and just really the look that I want and what I enjoy. So I've decided that's what I want to do, and I went ahead and just put the small strip of wood grain up at the top. But you will see in a little bit, I decided to go ahead and cut that apart and use it at the bottom as well. So it makes it look like I used the wood grain as a full background, matted it on red, and then I used these strips. So here I have the black strip of paper and it's pretty wide. You're going to see in a little bit I cut it down, so it changes quite a bit. This is cute. You could absolutely leave the papers the way they are right here, but I do adjust them as I go. I just keep cutting away more and more paper. So here you'll see I had bought these perfect layer guides. It's cutting guides, matting guides. I don't know what these are by We Are Memory Keepers. I don't remember what they're called, but they're like a perfect layers. So I had pulled them out, I hadn't used them yet. So I was just trying to decide what size of matting that I wanted. So I was just kind of going through them. And I decided to use the center of the red cardstock so that I could have the red again on the layout, but I could still use it to mat my background. So always be thinking about that if you're matting your photos. You can absolutely take it out of the center of your backgrounds and still use it so that you're not wasting it. If I'd put it up in the corner, I would have wasted that piece of red cardstock and not been able to use it for much other than die cuts or matting. I definitely need to practice some more using the cutting guides, but I do think I'm going to really enjoy them. It was really easy to get the exact same width around the photos using these. So I just need to practice some more using my cutting knife and figuring out what size that I really like for the mat on my photos. Because I always seem to get different sizes when I'm using a trimmer. So I think I'm going to really enjoy these. Just need to play some more. So now I'm deciding where I want the background paper. So this is where I start trimming all of these strips of papers down just a little bit more, getting the look that I want. So if I would have planned this out, I could have saved a lot of paper and not had all of these little strips and things. But with my leftovers, I definitely could go and make a similar layout with the leftover papers. There'll be different widths of the strips. but it would be very easy to get out another layout. I also could cut them up and just do layers, just do a messy stack of layers, which I really like doing on layouts. So I definitely could make a really quick layout with my scraps, even though I kind of probably, well, I'm not going to say I wasted paper. I didn't waste it. I just didn't pre-plan, and normally I do have just a little bit of a plan. So here you can see I'm thinking about just wallpapering the background with all of the papers. So all of these little options as you watch me play, they're all great. They all would make really awesome layouts. It was just a matter of going through until I really liked it. So here's where I definitely know I want that wood grain, and I'm going to go back and get another piece of wood grain for the bottom. So at this point I decided I really needed some separation from all of them. I wanted to antique it and rough it up. These are outdoor photos. It's all about the guy. Well, we do have a girl in the photo, but it's all about the guys getting outdoors and shooting and, you know. So I wanted it really rustic. So using the Tim Holtz inks is a perfect way to get that in. And I apologize, I'm off screen here a little bit. I get caught up. I switched tables again. So now I have two different tables that I'm actually filming from depending on what I'm doing. So I'm moving back and forth, and I kind of got off my markings of where my camera is shooting. I also have a new setup coming, so we'll be playing with that, and it will be easier to kind of keep it consistent. So I'll give you an update on that later. So here's where I had the big wide piece of black, and I was trying to decide, you know, did I want that? Did I want it a little bit more? So I had taken the small strip that I had cut off and was trying it, and then decided, you know, I wanted a little bit more. So I just took the other piece of paper and cut it down. So that's what I'm talking about. You know, some people may consider that a waste, but it's not. You can see I have really large sheets of scraps over here that I can work with. So I decided I wanted even more roughing up, so I pulled out my Tim Holtz Distressor. I do not use this very often. It's been quite a while since I used it, but I used it around the photo mat just to distress and kind of tear it up. It roughs up all the edges. If you don't have a distressing tool, you can also use a pair of scissors. Just open them up. Just be careful if they're really sharp because you can hurt yourself. And then I also just lifted up the edges of each one of those strips of paper. Again, I didn't use the distressing tool. I didn't want that much. Plus, it would have been hard since I already had it glued down. It's easier if you do it before you adhere it down. But I just wanted to lift them up and just rough it just slightly. And so once I did all that, really loved the background. It was so cute, just perfect. So now I'm ready to move on to the fun stuff. So this is all about the embellishing. So you can see here the three little cross cuts that I fussy cut from the patterned paper. I trimmed them fairly close. You can see a little bit of the white around it. I don't get too fanatical about fussy cutting, especially on something like this. And when you ink it and the edges, it helps disguise any kind of rough cuts that you have. So I had cut out three of those. One of them is on the edge of the paper, so it was cut off, but that's okay because I'm tucking them all up underneath there. So don't forget that. Don't think you have to have all full designs when you fussy cut out of the paper. You can use those that are coming off the edges and just tuck them in. So I have one at the top, one to the left of the photo, and then I went ahead and brought one down to the bottom of the layout coming underneath those layers. Now, where you see the three clusters around my photo, that is where I'm going to build those clusters. But I decided I wanted to bring it down to the bottom of the page. Otherwise, there's just nothing down there and it's kind of boring. So don't think you have to stick to just three areas. You can have multiple triangles. So here I'm going to go ahead and get the photo down so I can really start tucking in these embellishments. And I used my fun foam to kind of pop it up since I do have that roughing up of the layers of all the different strips of paper. It's not going to lay flat anyways, and I just like dimension on my pages. So the fun foam is a great way to pop up the entire photo without breaking the bank on foam tape. And now I'm just going through the stickers that I pulled off, and when I start this, I'm looking at usually color first is what I'm pulling. So I had that wild and free. Also looking, I'm starting with the biggest pieces. So I had the wild and free, the outdoors, and the adventure. Those were three of the large stickers that I had picked out. So I chose the Wild and Free up for the top and then pulled the red over into the left cluster, and then I have the Adventure down on the bottom right. Now that one, I combined a couple of stickers. It had the round wood piece on the back, but it had a phrase that wasn't really fitting, and I loved this one that says Adventure is my middle name, because that's definitely my husband's middle name. He loves adventure and going and finding and new things and climbing and just investigating. And so I just pop dotted that red plaid adventure sticker up on top of the brown one to cover up that phrase that was on it, and made my own little layered embellishment. So when you have stickers that don't really quite fit, see if there's things you can put on top of them and make them fit for what your layout is. So that kind of brought my 3 little red areas in, and I could kind of build. I had that little wood tree trunk, and since I had the wood tree slices in the other ones, I decided that was perfect over there. Even though I had the wood behind the red sticker, it just gave me a little bit more wood. So now I have wood and red in all of them. I had introduced that black in that adventure sticker. So I had the boot that was black, so I pulled it up at the top, and then I'm going to bring down to the bottom one all these word labels. So I have this one that says Rough and Tumble, so that's the black down there, and I put the red arrow. So you can see I'm just repeating the colors. You can do it in different sizes, each color. This one happened to be, I have a black arrow up here and a red arrow down the bottom. So I'm repeating the colors, the shapes, and varying the sizes. So one arrow is larger in the larger cluster up at the top, and then the small cluster at the bottom has the smaller arrow. To finish it off, I had the little star stickers, and I'm just going to sprinkle those around. This could be enamel dots, it could be wood veneer, which you'll see in the finished layout at the end. I did add some wood veneer stars in those areas, so I have 3 stars in each little cluster. And so they're a mix of the red stars and the wood veneer stars. I also had that little banner piece, and I wanted to pull something up at the top, so I pulled it over to the top. So you can see I have a triangle around the photo. You could also say from the banner to the bottom cluster at the bottom of the page, and then over to the right of the photo could create another cluster. So these are some pictures of the finished layout. I also added the journaling, or actually it's just the names, across the top on the wood grain with my new We Are Memories Keeper typewriter. And I have to say I love it. I did it after the photo, so you didn't see it. But I'll try to share the photo of it on my Instagram and Facebook page. So be sure to check that out. Love to have you subscribe if you're not already subscribed. Check out some other videos. And I will see you back here soon with another layout. Thanks for watching.